Hello and welcome to the Door to Law. My name is Donya and today I'm going to be talking to you about intellectual property. What is it and why is it important? So, intellectual property, otherwise known as IP, is one of the most valuable assets of a startup. It's essentially intangible property that is property that's not physical but has intellectual worth. It can include designs, images, symbols, inventions, and intellectual property can be protected under various rights. You may have heard of patents, trademarks, designs, and copyright. What do you need to think about when you're considering your IP? Well, the first step is really to consider what steps you need to take to protect that IP. Now, unfortunately, there's no single formula. So the best piece of advice I can give you is to seek the advice of an IP specialist lawyer who can advise you on how best to protect your IP. A number of factors go into IP protection, one of them being where your company is incorporated. Now, the one thing about IP that you should always remember is that ideas are not copyrightable. That means you do not have an exclusive right to your ideas, and there is a risk that people can go and copy those ideas if you don't take sufficient steps to protect them. If any of you have watched The Social Network, you will know that the Winklevoss twins sued Mark Zuckerberg for allegedly stealing their social network site idea. Now, although they were awarded a fairly substantial settlement, they could have avoided this whole dispute had they have taken steps to protect their idea in the first place. A couple of ideas that they could have considered would have been to have Mark Zuckerberg, who at the time was their employee working on their software, to have Mark sign a non-disclosure agreement, otherwise known as an NDA, whereby Mark would have agreed not to have disclosed any confidential information in relation to the twins' business. Another agreement they could have had him signed would have been a non-compete agreement, whereby he would have agreed not to compete with the business. Aside from IP protection, you also need to consider IP assignment. That means transferring the rights in the intellectual property to the company itself. So if you are a founder, or you have employees, advisors, or consultants, anybody essentially that has access to the IP, you need to ensure that they enter into what's known as an IP assignment agreement, under which they agree to assign their IP to transfer all the rights in that IP to the company. This will allow the company to have exclusive rights to own and license that IP out. Now, if an employee decides to leave or a founder decides to leave, if you haven't had them enter into an IP assignment agreement, the risk is that they may be able to claim ownership over that IP, and suddenly the risk and investability of your startup has significantly declined. Also bear in mind that in the future, if you're looking for a purchaser to acquire your business, they will also be looking to make sure the IP has been assigned to the company so that they can continue to fully operate the business effectively. So in a nutshell, that is IP. I hope you found that useful and thank you very much for listening.